welcome everybody to this 1010 webinar, Smarter Quality Engineering with Agentic AI. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Stu Day, so I'm one of our managing principal consultants here at 1010. I'm sure you're all experiencing AI being at the forefront of everybody's minds at the moment, and in a lot of conversations around how do we use it, how can it enhance our quality engineering practices and capabilities, but also what are the things that we need to think about when looking to adopt AI and the different types of AI that we can use. In this webinar in particular, we're going to be looking at Agentic AI, and Ramesh, I'm going to hand over to Ramesh very soon to talk you through that. But before we do, for those that maybe don't know who 1010 are, I just want to sort of give a little bit of an intro to who we are. So we are one of the UK's leading independent quality engineering and software testing consultancies. We specialize in delivering solutions and services and test strategies, functional and non-functional testing, automation, performance testing, DevOps solutions, and more recently, we're starting to look into that AI-assisted quality engineering space, which is very much what we're going to demo some exciting areas around today. We've also got our Tech Academy as well, so where we develop the next generation of tech talent, and that's for organizations as well as our 1010 consultancy. So if you're interested in learning more around what we offer, then obviously get in touch and we can have some conversations around that. But look, come on. Let's get into the good stuff, right? So I'm going to hand over to Ramesh, because this is what everybody's really here for, to get into and look at this agentic AI in quality engineering. If you have any questions throughout, by all means, please put them in the Q&A folder, and we will pick those up at the end, and we'll answer as many possible questions as we can. And if there's any that we can't answer, we'll take them away, and as part of the follow-up, we'll share some of those answers as well. But I'm going to hand over to you, Ramesh, now to get us going.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Stu. Let me know if you're unable to hear. I am Ramesh Reddy Badipadaga, and I'm one of the lead consultants here at 1010. Thank you all for joining us. On this slide, I want to show you the difference between a traditional AI ask, a single AI agent, and what we mean by agentic AI. Let's start at the top. When you simply ask an AI model like ChatGPT or Gemini, it's really just responding to your prompt based on the data it's trained on. That's fine for things like answering business questions, generating content, or writing a simple piece of code. But it's reactive. It doesn't really take action on its own. Moving on to AI agents, this level often integrates a model like GPT-4 or Claude with a tool such as Playwright. Unlike a simple text response, an agent can generate a program to execute a specific action, such as automating a registration process on a demo website. While helpful, it's important to note that this capability is typically confined to performing a single isolated task. Finally, let's look at agentic AI. This is where things get more powerful. Rather than a one-off action, multiple agents are connected and working together with context. For instance, one agent might use Playwright MCP to register a user on a demo site. Another agent through GitHub MCP automatically pushes the test to a repo, triggers the pipeline, and verifies the results. The agents are aware of the bigger picture and collaborate to complete the workflow end to end. To make it more relatable, think about booking a holiday. With a simple AI ask, you can get a list of destinations. With a single agent, it can book a hotel for you. But with agentic AI, you would have multiple agents working together, one checking the weather, another comparing flights, another finding hotels, and they coordinate to book a 5-day holiday with sunny weather under a £500 budget. The key point here is that agentic AI is not just about answering questions. It's about taking intelligent, connected actions across systems to achieve a real outcome. Now that we have seen how agentic AI fits in compared to a simple AI ask or a single AI agent, let's look at what actually makes it different under the hood. Agentic AI is essentially a network of intelligent software agents that don't just follow scripts. They understand context, make their own decisions, and adapt as they go. Unlike traditional automation, which simply runs a fixed set of steps, these agents figure out the best way to get a job done, even as things change around them. There are three big differences I want you to notice here. First, they understand intent, not just instructions. Instead of doing exactly what's written, they can interpret the goal behind it. Second, they adapt to changes in real time. If the application updates or a workflow shifts, they can still complete the task without breaking. And third, they learn from experience. They reflect on outcomes, spot gaps or errors, and improve their approach over time. To make it more tangible, think about things we already use every day, like a digital assistant that reschedules meetings for you if something gets moved, a logical system that reroutes deliveries the moment it sees a delay, or a customer service bot that adapts that changes its tone and approach based on how frustrated the customer sounds. That's the kind of adaptability and context awareness agentic AI brings into quality engineering. And on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see how different this looks compared to traditional automation. With traditional automation, you have to manually set everything up, run the scripted tests, and then you just get static results. Agentic AI works very differently. It starts from understanding the scenario intent, interprets the prompts to plan its approach, goes through reflection and planning, and then executes and validates tests while continuously learning from each cycle. So instead of a one-way process, it's a feedback loop, constantly improving, adapting, and getting smarter the more it runs. Let's talk about how agentic AI actually fits into the tools we use today. So the nice thing is it's not about ripping out everything you already have and starting over. Agentic AI works with your existing ecosystem. For example, Playwright MCP let agents read your business scenarios, automatically generate tests, and run them directly with your existing Playwright framework. GitHub MCP then makes it seamless to commit those tests into your repo, raise pull requests, and have them reviewed just like developer code. And because all of these ties into your CI/CD pipelines, the tests run automatically with every build and give you instant feedback. So rather than being some standalone AI tool, it becomes part of your workflow, quietly making everything faster and more adaptive behind the scenes. One of the biggest shifts when using agentic AI is how you communicate with it. It's not about just throwing a bunch of random commands at a chatbot. You have to be intentional. There are three parts to this. Command, the direct instruction, what you want. Context, the background that explains why you want it and where it applies. Prompting, which is really the art of combining the two in a clear, structured way so that the agent produces the right result. For example, saying write a test for registration is vague. But saying, as a senior tester, generate a Playwright test that validates registration on our demo site using these selectors. Now the agent has role, context, and expectations, so it can deliver something production ready. If you relate this example to an employee requesting a leave from their manager with context, without context. So that's the kind of importance the prompting comes into picture when dealing with these AIs. This slide shows quick before and after to illustrate how much prompt quality matters. The prompt just says, write a Playwright test for the login page. Now, I want to give a moment for all of you to think if the prompt is enough for the AI to understand and go and do a task. Can we improve it? If we can improve, what are the other things that we need to add to this prompt? It's weak. It's weak because there is no URL, no selectors, no expected behavior. So the result will be vague and unusable. And I didn't even mention the programming language that is there in the prompt. Now, look at the improved version. It defines the tester's role, the app URL, the selectors, what success and failures look like, and even the output format. Because it's specified, it's specific and structured, the agent can generate a full spec file that's ready to run. The point here is, the better the prompt, the better the automation. Investing a bit more time in the prompt saves hours later for fixing broken or incomplete tests. This example really brings into your life. Again, before I move on to this slide, apologies for the short text on the slide. I tried to make it bigger, but I couldn't fit it. So we give both a chat model and an agent the same instructions. Go to the site, register a user with real data, make sure the email starts with test user so that we can delete all the data that has been generated automatically, which is what generally we use in the automation, and verify they are registered successfully. The chat model, which is the left side snapshot, just gives you some code and stops because it is in the ask mode. Now, the right-hand side snapshot is in the agent mode. The agent actually goes and does it. It navigates to the site, runs the Playwright script, verifies the user appears, and even reports back on what happened, which we all see in the demo in a minute. So that's the leap from just answering to actually doing. Excuse me. So here's what happened behind the scenes during a demo. We give the workflow an instruction like register a user. The Playwright MCP server interprets that and generates a full test automatically. The test is pushed to GitHub and a pull request is opened for review. The CI pipeline picks it up, runs it across environments, and checks the results. Any failures are flagged and real-time reports are generated. What's powerful is that this all happens with minimal manual intervention. The agents handle it from start to finish. I'm going to switch to the demo. So I'm going to use the VS Code. This is an empty repository. We have one prompt file, which is register.md, and the other one is the context I am giving it to the AI. So I'm telling it, hey, add couple of MCP servers to the settings file, if not already present. You are an automation coding agent, and you are going to use these two MCP servers in order to perform this task. Your role is to assist an automation engineer in developing end-to-end functional tests. And I have given some strict guidelines to it. Project setup, if there is no project, create the framework for me. If there are no dependencies, install the dependencies for me. Ensure the Playwright MCP server is set up and GitHub MCP server is set up for me automatically without doing the manual intervention. Add an environment file for handling sensitive data like user credentials or tokens. And for the test generation, so that's for the setup and this is for the test generation. I'm just mentioning like where the test should be created and what you need to do in order to before you commit and all. So those are all the guidelines which I generally tell to the team members and all. I'm just telling it to the AI. The last one is an important one. Verify the generated code locally before you commit it to the repo. And I'm telling like create a branch and add the code to the GitHub repo. Iteration and feedback. If anything fails, I want you to go and repair yourself, repair the text repair the test. Important guidelines. Never generate assumptions. Just follow the pipeline strictly and follow the best coding standards. And that's the test file. So like we see in the slides and all, go to this particular slide and I told you to wait for a couple of seconds because I want to demo that the browser should come up, render and a page, because if I don't give that, it will be quite quick and you will unable to see it. Now, Going on to the repo, so that's the repo we are using. Like we see earlier, there's only prompt and the Copilot instructions. There are no pull requests here. There are no pipelines that have been generated, and I'm expecting Agentic AI to do everything from start to finish. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this particular file to the chat, and I'm going to add the context that we discussed, which is very important for the AI. I'm going to add these two files, and I'm going to say generate a context. I'm going to select that one. Generate a test using register.md file. That's the only thing I'm going to give in the prompt, because the file, the context is present, and in the register.md, there are some instructions that to be followed. Now, when I click on send button, it is going to go and do the job. It understands the context. It reads what needs to be done. Now it is working its way. Right. Okay, so it is going to say, right, I'll help you to generate a Playwright test. It knows what needs to be done. So there is no project structure. There is a Playwright project. So it understood the intent. It understood the goal of the prompt, and it is now trying to work through it. The project structure is empty. So the first step, it is going to install the project structure and all. And while that is going on, I'll explain a little bit about the Playwright. So now it is using Playwright 1.56, which I will talk a bit more after the demo. So what it is asking, because we are using AIs, it is asking permission to interact with the terminal. That's where it is asking for allow, and I'm going to say allow. Yes, it needs to interact because it needs to install the necessary libraries. So it created the TypeScript configuration. It created the Playwright configuration file. Now it created the environment file, just like I mentioned in the context. For storing the sensitive information, it's clicking the dependencies. This is where it is going to interact with the terminal. Now I'm going to say yes, go happily just interact with the terminal and do the execute the commands that are required. This is all the planning phase. Okay, so what it is, it's not generating the test yet. This is all the planning phase, looking at the structure, looking at the framework, what are the tools that are required in order to execute the test, whether the tools are already present in the repository or not, or in the project or not. If they are not, it needs to install all of them. And all of this will be done only once in the beginning of the test. When you are creating a next test, it doesn't go through all of these steps because it's already there. Now what it is going to do, it is going to create the page object structure. Okay, so the testers on the chat will able to know how the structure looks like. There should be tests, there should be utilities, there should be an environment file. Now it is going to, so again, this is going to go to the URL. Again, guys, it is not going to create the test yet. It is trying to open the browser, navigate to the site, and try to understand the application. So we have given like register a user. So it is going to navigate through the site, look at the elements, understand it, and then the next step is going to create the code. That is what it is doing at the moment. It is just learning by itself. Every time it is making an instruction like click and all, it is asking for permission. You can set this one to allow automatically, but I'll be careful about that one. Right. It can see the registration form, it can see the fields, and it understood what are the fields it needs to interact with. And it is trying to register the form with real data. Again, this is the preparation it is doing in order to create the test. It is like a tester, if you want to create a test and all, first what you will do, you will go and you will open the browser manually. You see whether it is working fine or not before you go and automate it. That is exactly what it is doing. Excellent, the registration was successful. Now it is going to say, now let me go and create the code for it. That's it. So successfully explored the registration flow, which means the planning section has been done. Now it moves on to the generation phase, which is creating the tests. If you look on the left-hand side, it is going to create a couple more files for automating the test. And we specifically mentioned that it needs to follow the page object model structure, which is the standard one in the automation space. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, there are tests, there are pages. So it is creating the base page, it is creating the home page, which means it is creating an individual page for every page in the application that it needs to deal with, which is nothing but the page object model concept. It also created registration results page. That's another scenario. Now, because we asked to provide the data randomly, every time I want to run the registration, I want real data needs to be given, like a random data, because if you give the same email address, it's going to fail. So it is going to create a test data generated.ts file to provide the random data to every time it executes the test. Now it is actually creating the spec file. User registration to spec. The next step is to now the GitHub MCP server comes into picture here. So the Playwright MCP server has done, the GitHub MCP server has came into picture. It is creating the GitHub Actions workflow. As soon as you run the test or as soon as you create a pull request, and then the CI pipeline needs to be kicked in. So that is what it is doing now. And also it is trying to create a git ignore file. Sorry, this is a little bit going technical and all, but the automation testers on the chat should be able to understand what this is. So I specifically mentioned that let me run the test locally to verify correctly. You have to run the test locally. If locally it's passed, then only you need to push the code to the repo. So it is going to execute test locally. So this is locally it is going on. So it has created 3 scenarios, which we'll talk in a minute. It tries to register a user. There is an error, which is fine. That is what it happens when you are dealing with the locator, with the dynamic locators on the web page. But now what I'm expecting is I'm expecting it to autocorrect itself. That is the healing phase, which is part of the Playwright test agent. So I go back to the VS Code. I stop the report, which is Control C, and then I'm expecting the AI to pick up the error. And if you look at that, see, I see there is an issue with the locator for my account. It's finding multiple elements. Let me fix this by making the locator more specific. So it is trying to heal itself. So if you understand what it is doing now is it is going to execute only one particular test which keeps failing, right? So it is trying to fix it and try to execute it locally. So this is the second attempt it is trying to make for registering a user. And again, this is all this automatic, right? It passed, great. Now that particular test has been passed, but what I need to do, what the expectation is that you run all the tests again, which is exactly the procedure the automation testers follow. So it is going to execute all the tests locally, and if it's passed, then it is going to create a pull request for us. Looks like everything is okay. So now it is going to GitHub MCP comes into action, and it is going to create a branch. Perfect. All tests are passing. If you look at bottom left of the screen, you see there is a branch called main. So because we have asked to create a branch specifically, it is going to create. That's the main branch. Now, when I click on allow, it is going to create a separate branch, which is the usual practice. Every time you create a test, you need to have a separate branch. it is trying to add all the files to this specific branch and will create a pull request. Added all the files to the specific branch, and it is trying to push it. Right. So it needs to create a pull request. And if you notice here, the token I have used is my personal token, right? So I haven't given permission to create a pull request. I told it specifically to create everything for me, but do not create a pull request because I want to manually review the code before I create a pull request. That is my expectation. So creating pull request, it should fail because I haven't given permission for it. Said it failed. I understood and said, hello, it's gonna give a go again. So now my expectation is everything needs to be ready and I need to click the button on a create pull request. You can automate this one as well. It's up to you if you totally trust that one. And if you are working in a bigger team, probably it's not right, but it's all up to you how you want to deal with it. So now let's go back to the repository. Okay, so it's giving a summary on what it has done so far, which is great. Now I'm going to go back to the browser and see everything is ready. So this is where manually I want to make sure everything is ready. This is where I'm going to review all the code that has been generated. And if I'm happy, I'm going to say create pull request. The expectation is that as soon as I click on create pull request, I'm expecting that there is a pipeline that needs to kick off to execute the test in the GitHub. Let's see if that's happening. So if you click on actions, you can see the pipeline is already there, which has been created because previously it was not there. AI has created a pipeline and the test keeps executing. So again, because we are running it for the first time, it needs to install the Playwright related tools, browsers, etc. So that takes a minute. So let's switch back to the repo and see whether the structure has been worked correctly or not. So here, I'm going to close that one and I'm going to walk through the framework, which some of you might already know about the Playwright framework and all. So it followed the page object model, happy with the files and the changes. So I'm going to click on keep. So that's the base page, home page, registration page, and all the locators are there. It followed the structure, constructor way, and all the methods, related methods were created separately, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And this is for the registration page. Everything looks okay. And this is for the results page. Yeah, I'm interested in the environment file. So those are the tests that were created, user registration, and there are 3 tests that were created here, which looks all, the comments are there. The assertions looks okay. Yeah. And in the utilities, I specifically asked to create an environment file. So this is the data generated file, data generator file to provide the random data every time the test executes. And this is the environment file for storing the sensitive data. And that's the context file. The interesting bit, what I have given in the context file is when you are running the tests in the GitHub, you should automatically run in the not in the headed mode, which exactly should happen so that the test will pass in the GitHub. The package looks okay. So it's using the latest one. And that's the config file. So everything has been created by AI. I haven't even touched a single letter in the code. So this all looks okay. Let's switch back to the pipeline and see if it has been completed. Yes, the job has been completed. Looks like everything is green. And this is where I'm going to merge the file. So the merging the PR is again a manual thing, which is what exactly we do. And that is required because every time you click on merge, I'm expecting it to kick off a pipeline. When you click on merge, there will be some other team members working on the same project. It merged with their code and a pipeline should automatically kick off because that's the merged code I want to test now. So if you look at that one, the pipeline is, again, the pipeline which is already there. So it is going to execute all the tests in that particular repo. Now, so the prompt I have given is generate a test for registration, register a user. What it has done, it has created 3 different scenarios: registration with valid data, registration with invalid data, and registration form elements of their presence and the functionality, which is what I have been expecting. Right. Okay. So while doing the demo, I explained that I'll mention about Playwright. So I have been using Playwright latest version 1.56 release. The specialty about Playwright 1.56 release is it introduces a powerful new feature called Playwright Test Agents. I'm going to switch to VS Code and explain what they mean. So if you run the command npx playwright init agents VS Code, it is going to create 3 custom agents for you: generator, healer, and planner. So if you click on here, you will see the options here. Before you execute this command, you will be able to see agent, ask, and edit. Now you see planner, generator, and healer. So what is a planner? When you click on, so all these files again created. When you run this command, these files will be created and all. So that's the context. I haven't written any of this one. Okay, so this is provided by the Playwright. So the context for planning is already there. So Planner explores the application and automatically generates a detailed markdown test plan. As shown in the demo, it first launched the browser and analyzed the application structure. So when to use these agents separately? I haven't used any of these agents individually because in the demo, I'm working with one test. And when you want to work with a module with multiple functionalities like payment and dealing with different types of payments and all, for example, so what you will do is before it generates the tests, I want it to create a plan for me. What are the test cases that it is going to automate? So that's where you will select the planner agent and you are going to give the prompt saying that, hey, this is my payment module, etc., etc. And can you please create a test plan for me? Once the test plan is generated, manually you are going to review it. And if you are happy with that one, then you are going to move on to the generator agent. So you will select the generator agent because it will help you to create or automate all the tests for you. You will execute them. And if any of these tests fail, you will use the healer agent in order to fix the issues, which is exactly that we have observed in the demo. So we tried to execute, created a code, tried to execute it for the first time. It failed. It fixed all by itself without the manual intervention. So this is a powerful one. And I believe what it does is it helps to reduce the prompt from the user. So everything is handled by the Playwright MCP. Right, switching back to us. Right, so these capabilities demonstrate how AI-driven automation is becoming an integral part of modern testing. With the rapid evolution of AI and MCP servers, tools like Playwright are adapting quickly. And as testers and developers, we need to evolve with them, leverage these intelligent agents to streamline and strengthen our automation workflows. And this isn't just theory, it's already happening. Major platforms like GitHub and VS Code are building support for MCP. That means you can plug Agentic AI into the developer and QA environments you're already using. So instead of asking people to learn a whole new platform, you can bring agent-driven workflows into the tools they know and start getting value immediately. Right. So these are all the snapshots that I have taken from the VS Code MCP. And there are many MCP servers in the market, out there in the market. But these ones are related to the automation. That's why I have highlighted here. But if you want to know more about different MCP servers according to your needs, you can follow the link that has been provided at the bottom of the slide. Right. Let's wrap up with a few key takeaways from today's session. First, the real power of agentic AI is having multiple agents working together to achieve a shared outcome. These agents don't just complete a single task. They coordinate with, learn from the results, and even self-repair over time as they encounter new scenarios. Second, agentic AI isn't here to replace your existing tools. It integrates with your current ecosystem so you can enhance what you already have instead of rebuilding from scratch. Third, prompting is key. The quality of your prompt determines the quality of the output. A well-structured prompt provides role, context, constraints, and expectations, and that's what turns AI from a chat tool into a productive teammate. Finally, before using MCPs in any project, always confirm they align with your organization's security and compliance requirements. Governance and safety are critical as we adopt these emerging capabilities. When you're picking up an MCP, either for a pilot or for real world applications and all, make sure it is coming from the official provider. There are so many MCP servers that are provided by the third parties as well. If you want to learn more about AI models, MCP or MCP servers, please follow the links that are there at the bottom of the slide. Thank you. I will hand over to Stu for next steps.
Thank you, Ramesh. I still love that, even though we've been through it a few times now. I still love seeing it. Great demo, thank you. So yeah, hopefully everybody's enjoyed that. And if you've got any questions, please drop them into the Q&A. I've just seen one drop into the regular chat as well, actually. So we'll pick those up in a second. But in terms of sort of next steps, so following on from this webinar, everybody will receive the recording. So everyone that's registered will receive the recording. And then we've also got a white paper which details sort of your first 3 steps to get started with agentic AI and do it in a safe and pragmatic way. And that's one of the key things that we promote here at 1010 is making sure that we're doing things in a pragmatic way and looking at how we can supplement our quality engineering practices with AI rather than forcing certain tooling in certain ways. It's all about the problems we're trying to solve. So another way you can move forward is you can always book a consultation or a workshop with us. And we can tailor guidance and implementation specifics to your need. And then thirdly, I mentioned the Tech Academy at the very start. You can also bring people in from our Tech Academy who have been trained on intelligent testing and AI tooling and help that and use that as a way to supplement and upskill your internal team. So there's different ways you can move forward. If you'd like to learn more, as I say, just get in touch with us and we can help guide you and look at your specific needs in general. But I want to say a massive thank you again, Ramesh, for doing that and pulling that together. Doing demos is never easy, especially technical ones like that. So thank you for all that work. Shall we jump into the questions, Ramesh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall I read them out, or can you see them? I'll read some of these out. So
Unfortunately, I can't see, but if you can read.
You can't see, so I could be making them up and you'd never know. Great. So we've got a first question from Chris Newton. So what are your thoughts on some of the AI testing solutions currently on the market? And he gives an example, which is Momentic.ai.
Oh, right. So I haven't played personally with the Momentic.ai, but so when I'm picking a tool, or what I would suggest when you're picking a tool or like an AI, you play with it, you go through the release notes and see what its capabilities are. and see whether it fits for your particular needs. Here, I have taken an example of a e-commerce website. So if you are dealing with some different applications having different functionalities and all, what I would suggest is go through the documents and see if it is doing the job as per your expectations or not. And if it's not, just move on to the other one. But if that particular AI is able to do the job for you, then it's great. It's about, because the AI is evolving and there are so many MCP servers that are coming in the market, pilot them in a controlled environment, look at the output. If it is the desired output, then go with them.
Yeah, and we talk about that in the white paper, don't we, Ramesh, in terms of how to get started and select the right tooling and stuff like that, which people will receive. Thank you for your question, Chris. Our second question is from Nagendra Vadakatu. Nagendra would like to know more about how the agentic AI manages memory and reasoning layers.
Oh, right. So manages memory. Okay, so there are two different things. So when you are talking about a chat, okay, so the agentic AI is slightly different. Let me talk about memory first. For example, when you are doing with ChatGPT and all, so it stores the memory, which means you don't need to give up you don't need to give the whole context to it. So if you are trying to ask, like, okay, I want to book a holiday, for example, which we have seen in the demo and all, I want to book a holiday, then it's going to ask, okay, which locations you are interested in. Then you give the locations, you give some other constraints. So it is building up all that information in the memory so that it can serve you the right output. So that's the part of memory. So not dealing with the agentic AI, but it's an individual chat. For example, in the demo, we have used Copilot. It's going to remember the whole context and all. But if you are dealing with ChatGPT outside of Copilot or outside of technical stuff, it has its own memory. So that's the memory if you are talking about. Then it is going to save the information, process it for the upcoming questions, and also so that it can give the desired output.
Thank you,
I don't know
Ramesh.
if Nagendra is asking about the same concept of the memory or the different one. But yeah, if he's talking about memory in terms of AI, that's the answer.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Nagendra's just put it in the chat. Great. Okay, so let's have a look. What else have we got? Nagendra's put another one in. Good. I'll come back to that, Nagendra. I don't want you to hog the limelight. Richard Forjo, I think. Apologies if I pronounced your name wrong, Richard. Have you done much with this in terms of test data management and getting it to set up data, etc., in databases, APIs? Curious if you've used this in that way yet.
Yes. So I have done that one. Okay. So I have used personally the agentic AI in terms of API testing and also in terms of UI testing. So different projects have different capabilities, for example, different requirements or needs, I would say. So first, when I'm dealing with API testing, I used to deal the data management using the JSON files. I have used AI for that one. When I'm dealing with UI functionality, so there are different projects. Again, sometimes the data needs to be in the flat files like spreadsheets or text notepad files and all. Sometimes, again, I used to use JSON, which is the best practice way. And sometimes I used to give, again, this is the least period where I used to give the data within the user files. I'm going to say, hey, try to use this particular data as part of this scenario. Then it is going to embed or incorporate the data as part of the scenario. So the short answer, again, that's a long explanation, but the short answer is yes, I have used AI for data management.
Thank you very much. Hopefully that answers your question, Richard. Anchor Singo, so just wondering if now with the use of agentic AI and automation, can the captures be bypassed?
What captures Nagendra is
I'm
talking
assuming that's captures on websites when you go in and you get the
no.
capture boxes come up. I'm guessing that's what that means.
Okay, that's an interesting one. That's really a
Yes.
great question. I'll tell you the difference because why I have explained or emphasized on the 1.56 release is that one. So before 1.56 release, the Playwright MCP server, it's not doing all of that stuff on the forefront. It is going to do it on the background. Now, I think, again, I need to look at more and more documentation. But yes, if you are using 1.5, 1.4 below, you won't see that one. But they have introduced these separate test agents. One, if you when you're dealing with a module level with multiple functionalities. Second thing, why it wants to read the application and capture all of that one is because it just wants to generate the right output. Like in the demo, even though it captured, it made a trial of the learning of the application and all, when it created the test and it wants to execute for the first time, one of the locator didn't find it. So it's going to heal itself, which is great, but it's going to learn about the application in order to make sure that it is building the right automation test. I think that's where the capture importance comes into picture. If you want to avoid that one, probably you can use the previous version, which is like 1.5 or 1.54, but I don't see why you want to avoid that if it wants to give you a better output rather than going in cycles with the test failures.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ramesh. Got a question, anonymous question here. So is this replacing testers or supporting them? I've got
Oh,
my views. I'm sure you've got your views as well, Ramesh, on this. So
100% supporting them.
yeah.
100% supporting them. Agentic AI isn't a replacement for human testers. It's a force multiplier. It handles the repetitive stuff like script generation, triage, and maintenance. So testers can focus on creative problem solving, exploratory testing, and strategy. It's about elevating their role, not removing
Mm.
it or not removing them from the team and all.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you showed in the demo, there's a lot of verification and validation you still need to do. And actually, there's just a level of new skill sets that are having to come in. So the quality of the prompting is
Yeah.
key, for example. And I often liken it to the conversations that you have, your communication between each other now becomes your communication with an AI agent, right? So it's just another form of communication that we have to build in. So yeah, it's definitely not replacing them. So yeah,
100%
it's
supporting them, not replacing them.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Um,
also I mentioned a couple of times, and also, for example, in the demo also, I didn't give the authentication for it to go and create a pull request automatically and all, because
exactly.
that is the stage where I want to go and review each code, right? So each piece of code, so that I don't want the workflow burden to be there if the code is not right.
Yes, absolutely. Um, so we've got a few more questions. I don't think we're going to get through them all, but whatever we don't get through, we'll take away and we will share answers to as part of the follow-up. Is that okay, Ramesh? Yeah, shall we do
That's
that? Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Perfect. So I will jump back to Nagendra again. So Nagendra's got a couple, Richard's got another one as well, and there's some more as well. So how do we ensure traceability and explainability of agentic AI decisions? So especially when it auto generates or modifies tests on production scale.
Right. Okay.
That's a biggie.
Right. So I again I want to re-emphasize saying that so try to use AI on the test environments, on the local environments. Don't just go and do it on the production. So once it matures, again, whatever happens in the future and all, but once you're happy with the test environment that it is doing exactly what you want to do, not doing something that you don't want to mess up, then once you're happy, then only use it on the production website and all, or production environment, but always try or pilot on the test environments. That's the safe way to do. Once again, whatever the code that is generated on the test environment, once you are happy, then only the same code is going to go to the production environment. So I'm hoping, unless there are any other environment issues, whatever that is passed on the test environment should pass on the production environment. Again, we can talk about data, we can talk about all the external third-party integrations and all, but yeah, ideally, in an ideal world where everything is in the right place, if it works on the test environment, it should work on the production. So do not use AI directly on the production.
Mhm. Sound advice. Um, Okay, so what other ones do we have? So we have another one from Richard as well. What constraints have you come across so far?
Uh, okay, I think what Richard might be asking is about like, okay, what constraints? The bigger one is prompting. Okay, so when I'm trying to play with the AI for the first time and all, my prompting was not great. Okay, so every time I asked AI to do something, it used to ask me like, okay, do you want to do this one? Do you want to do that one? I can take a simple example. So look at ChatGPT and all, right? So you want something, then it is going to say, okay, it is going to give a response to you and it is going to give a follow-up question for you. Okay, hey, do you want me to do this for you? Or is this what you are expecting? Or do you want me to do another thing? If the AI is asking more and more questions to you, which means it doesn't have enough context to do the job. So prompting is key. If the output is not as per your desired expectations, then improve the prompt, improve the context. So that's the constraint I have seen so far. If you are talking about security and all, then it's a different story. So if you ask like how secure is the setup and also then MCP connections are authenticated and run within your environment. So data doesn't need to just fly around the internet. So that said, we always recommend doing a security review before connecting it to production environments or any other environment. Start in a controlled no production setting, if that is the security that you are talking about or the constraints.
Excellent, thank you. What else do we have? I'm going to scroll further down. We've got a few coming in further down. Um, this is from Murali Padmanabhan. Hopefully I pronounced your name right, Murali. How do these tools perform in mobile platforms?
Right. Okay. So when Murali is talking about mobile platforms, I don't know if he's specifically talking about mobile native apps or web
Hmm,
applications that render on
yes.
the mobile. Let me give you two answers. So mobile app, I haven't tried extensively, but I think there might be different MCP servers because Playwright doesn't is not good for the mobile apps at the moment and all. It might change in the future. But when we are talking about the web applications and all, the difference between desktop and mobile is all about the layout, the rendering of the page. If the functionality, ideally, again, I need to keep it in quotes. Ideally, if the functionality is working fine in the desktop version, it should work fine in the mobile version as well. The appearance, the layout, and the rendering of the page, how it is showing up in the mobile is slightly different. So that's the variation we see between different when we are dealing with the websites between desktop and mobile, right? So Playwright has snapshots option by default. If you can, in your prompt, rather than testing the functionality both on desktop and mobile, you can use a snapshots feature of Playwright in order to compare the different versions, or when you run a functionality, take the snapshot before and after and compare. So that way it can be helpful.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm just going to do one more because I'm very conscious of time. We've got a number of others that we'll pick up afterwards and share around. So one that's just dropped in. So this is from Nick G. Does the use of agentic AI increase the importance of code review? We need to be sure our test is doing what we intend it to.
Can you come again, Stu, please?
Yeah, so it says Nick asks, does the use of agentic AI increase the importance of code review? Because obviously we need to be sure our test is doing what we intended it to do.
Yeah, it will. So again, this is like a 50-50 thing. In the initial rounds, you need to review it more. Okay. Again, this is solely depend on the content and the prompt you are going to give, right? So in the demo, I told it to use page object model. I told it to use dot environment file. I told it to use test data generation, create this file and all. Let's say I don't, I'm not creating the dot environment file, or I'm not giving the dot create a dot env file for the sensitive information and all. Let's say one of my team member did the prompting and he generated tests. as a test lead or as a member of the team, if I'm reviewing that code, I need to see that, okay, the tester missed this particular thing in the prompt. That's why AI didn't do it. So I am going to pick up as part of that code review. So the code review process still stays same because we don't know how the other team members are giving the prompt and all. So whether it can reduce over time, maybe, because again, it all depends on the prompt and the standards and the context you are giving. But for now, it stays same. Again, we can't generalize this one and all because different team members have different ways of giving the prompt and all, or different prompt engineering skills. But it stays same until we trust everything is going well. If it is for a complex applications and all, again, the more code review is required.
Brilliant, thank you. And I'm just gonna add one more. It's not a question. It's Mark O'Donnell dropped something into the chat to say I can recommend a platform called octomind.dev if you'd like manual tester to start using prompt-based testing with MCP integrations. It's more of a platform than a VS Code Playwright framework. We've had some good success with it ourselves. So that's just one of the other set of tools are out there, I guess. But Ramesh, thank you so much for this. It's been great to get this out there for people. There's been some great feedback in the chats as well. Some people that are really interested in learning more, and James Field, for example, is put in here, keen to have a chat with us moving forward. So James, if you want to get in touch, please do so. And if anybody wants to get in touch and wants to see how we can support from a 1010 side, then obviously get in touch and let us know. But that's it for today's webinar. Thank you again, Ramesh. Thank you for everybody that's joined. We'll be hosting more of these moving forward. So we're going to be trying to do more of these webinar type events and events in general. So please do keep your eyes and ears peeled for them. And for now, I wish you all a very good afternoon and take care.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you.